Okay, so basically, you're welcome, Madam Aminat. Please pay attention. If you have to go and lock your children inside one room now, lock them so that they will not disturb the value you're about to take. So basically, what I just want to teach is just the basics of trading. If you understand this, trust me, it will be easy for you to now what do I call it, navigate on the academy or understand when you join some educators. All right. So number one, Damilola, you paying attention to? Mr. Monday might not really need this so much, but you can learn one or two things, right? So basically, I wish let me unmute you. You tell me areas where you're having issues, right? And I think I'll infuse that into the training. Just a minute. So I'm gonna ask you one by one. Bakari, I've asked you to unmute. That's Bakari Damilola. Tell me where you're struggling with. Then I think I'll add that to the meeting. I've unmuted you. Then I think Madam Amina be thinking of what you have issues with too, because I'm gonna ask you very soon. So go on, Bakari.
I'm having issues.
Answer. Oh, this is an interactive class.
I know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You're not responding, no?
We can hear you now.
Okay, yes. Wait, let me join from my phone. This my laptop speaker is not so loud. So I'll be able to hear you very well. Hold on. All right, go ahead. I can hear you now. Which area?
It's still the area I was complaining about the liberty. No, I'm not using the hourglass.
That one is strategy. Okay, that's just strategy. All right.
Yes.
Is that the only thing?
Yes.
Okay, good. Madam Amina, don't worry, I'll teach you a strategy. I'll send you. I've told you, sir, we've already resolved that. Now you said you were going to add our class. You did not get that. So number two, Madam Amina, which area are you having issues? I've unmuted you. Hey, okay. I've asked you to unmute.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma. Good afternoon, ma. I can hear you.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I said how to use the chart and when exactly to trade, and how to use the chart is my problem.
Okay, good. How to use the chart and when exactly to trade. Okay. So, Damilola, do you also understand how to read the chart? So no, I'm certain that your own issue. If it's strategy, that one is not an issue. I've asked you to unmute. I'm asking you again, Dami.
Okay.
Do you know how to read the charts?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, then I think we'll just start. I'll start from there. Now, please, I hope you have your notes ready. Monday, I'm also with you for concentrating. So I hope everybody on this call has a notebook. Please reconfirm, because everything I'm going to tell you now, I need you to put it down. I'm going to be giving you notes. And if you pay attention, trust me, you're going to be fine. Right? You're really going to be fine. At a crossroad, whether to... I think I'll just use the laptop then. So, very important. Madam Amina, I hope you're with your notes.
Yes, please.
Okay, good. So, number one thing we want to do right now, basic principles of trading. If you have a question, please type it on the chat box and probably raise your hand to draw my attention to it. All right. So number one thing, Or you bear with me because I'm not used to using Zoom to type. I'm just learning. So basic trading principles. If you understand this, man, basic trading
Yeah.
principles and strategies. It's easy for you to understand the charts. Trading principles, sorry,
Strategy.
and trade structure.
Strategy.
So good. Number one thing, I want to believe everybody on this call, you must have watched your beginner's video, right? You know that the number one rule when it comes to what we do in this forex market is not hard. Like I like to tell people, it's just buying and selling. You need to understand that when people go into the market, whether forex or your local market, I want you to imagine you're only looking to go and either buy something in the market or you are going there to sell, is it not? Now, when you go to buy, two things comes to your mind. When you get into a market and you want to buy something, you are looking for the cheapest price possible. True or true? If you agree. Okay, no, sorry, I just over Monday time. Now, if you agree with me, this class I want it to be very interactive. So as I'm asking, be dropping anything I say you should drop on the chat box. If you agree with me that when you go into the market, you're looking to buy at the cheapest price, drop a 2 on the chat box. Like when you go in the market, if you want to go and buy something, you want to buy. There's not a noise at the background. There's no noise at my background. Though. Whose background has noise? Let me see who I need. Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. Sorry. Good. So I've muted everybody right now. So you agree with me that when you go into the market, you want to go and buy something cheaply, right? And when you are the one selling, if you're the one selling something, you also want to sell at an high price, is it not? If you're selling something to me right now, and I have opportunity to pay you 500, and somebody else is offering 600, would you sell to? 600 or 500? Put it on the chat box. If you are the one selling, who would you sell to? If you don't understand these basic principles, you can't read the charts. 500 or 600, put it on the chat box. Good. 600, good. Now, when you come into the forex market, you need to look at this from the business point of view. So that's why I would say the first principle of buying is this. Write this down. We buy low. We buy low. Buy low and we sell high. If you don't understand this, trust me, you'll never be able to read the charts. We buy low and we sell high. Just the same way you wanted to sell at 600 to me, but you also want to buy at a cheap price. We buy low and we sell high. Sell high. First stop. So if the market says, okay, we buy low, we sell high. The next thing is, how do I know the low points when they're in the market so I know it's time to buy? How would I know the high points so I know it's time to sell, right? So one of the low points is what we call support. And I'm going to show you that on the chart. Support zone. Write this down. Support zone is a low point. Resistance. Let me put it in front of that support. Low points is the low zones. There's a reason why we call it low zones. Why resistance? This is the high zone. So in other words, it's that easy as saying we buy at support and we sell at resistance. Let me take that again. The rule says we buy low and we sell high. Now on the chart screen, you're seeing where I put support zone is actually the low zone where we buy. Resistance is the high zone where we buy. So I can therefore say that support zone is where we buy low and resistance is where we buy high. If you agree with that, put in a 3 on the chat box. If you understand that, put in a 3 on the chat box very quickly. Put in a 3. Put in a 3 very quickly. Great. Now I'm taking 3 persons on this call. I want 3 responses. If you don't understand, okay, good. Dami, let me take that again. Now, you know, we said we buy low, just like I asked you now. If you are going to buy in the market, you buy the lowest, cheapest thing now. But when you're the one selling, you want to sell at an high price, really, right? Now, I now said, number one principle of buying and selling is that we buy low and we sell high. We buy low and we sell high. Again, I now ask, if you're going to buy low and you want to sell high, you also want to know where is the low area in the market, so that when the market is at that low area, you know you are buying. When it's at that high area, you also know you are selling, right? I now said a support zone is a low zone. It's written on your screen, meaning a low zone where you buy. A resistance is the high zone where we sell. Bakari, if you understand that now, drop a 3 on the chat box. And Madam Amina, drop a 3 on the chat box. Good. Madam Amina, are you with me? Good. So now, number one definition of support zone, write this down. A support, let me give you a layman's definition. A support is any zone or area. Write this down. A support is any zone or area. The price has gotten to at least twice in the past. Twice in the past. As I'm calling it, I'm typing out on the screen. And it started buying. Or going up from there. Going up from there. First up. The key word here is, I've written that down so I can continue. Let me know if you've written that down so I can continue. A support is any zone or area the price got to at least twice in the past and it started buying. Good. Now, let me give you this illustration. If you bought a piece of land, 300K, you bought it 300 when it was at 300,000. Your goal is that that land should keep appreciating, going up, so that you can make profits. Is it not? If you later hear that that land appreciates and goes up to 500, you will be happy because you bought it low at 300. So anytime we enter a buy, our goal is that let this market keep going up after we bought it. So we are going for the low zones in the market to go and buy. That is where we want to enter on the chart for a buy. That's why we say that zone is what we call a support. We won't know it's a support until we see that this time before it got here, the market went up. Another time again, it got there, the market went up. That's how we know a support zone. If you understand what I just said now, put in a 1 so I can continue with the next explanation. Good. Now, the other zone where we sell is what we call a resistance zone. I should come again. Madam Amina, this one is in your note. Ensure your children are not distracting you. We said we buy low. Anywhere we buy in the market is what we call support zone, because it has happened before. If I ask you now, every Christmas in Nigeria, Christians will always kill fowl, because every other Christmas so far, December 25 is always the Christmas day. So I can plan for this year's Christmas because since I was born, every 25th is always Christmas day. So I can plan to buy at a support zone because in the past, every time the market got there, the market bought. It went up from there. That's why it's a support zone. Just like the Muslims are probably having their festival, right? We know that every year there is always going to be Salah, is it not? So if I was in business, I can plan to sell rams during Salah. It's like saying Salah period is like a resistance zone where we sell, because every other time in the past, there is always sales of rams. Do you understand? So when we say something is also a support zone, this is not the first time it's happening. The last time the market got there, it bought. Now, anytime we say the market is buying, we say the market is going up. That's when you watch your basic videos, they use words like, if you hear another word for support, we'll say the market is on an uptrend. Uptrend means it's going up, meaning we'll be looking for opportunities to buy, or you'll be hearing languages like call or demand. Do we understand now, Mrs. Aminat? What we're trying to say is a support zone. Each time market gets there, it will always buy. A resistance zone. Each time market gets there, it will always sell. I'm going to show you a practical one on the chart. Matt, do you understand now? If you understand with my explanation, can you please put a 1 on the chat box so I can proceed? Good. So note this down. Other words for support is called uptrend. So that when I start showing you an uptrend, we'll know that we're only looking to buy. Other words, you can write this down, notes. Other words for support, buy, means support, uptrend. These are words some educators will use, right? Now let's define a resistance zone. Let's define a resistance zone. A resistance is any zone, just the opposite of support, is any zone or area that market price got to at least twice in the past. Maybe it must have happened like twice, at least twice in the past. And started selling, or dropping, anything you want to call, because when we sell, our goal is that the prices should keep going down. You buy so that the thing will appreciate, but when you sell, you want to sell high so that after you finish selling, if it now goes down, you have made more profit because you sold high. So this is a resistance, this is a support. Now, have you written this down? I want to clean this screen and now draw a typical support and resistance for you before we'll now go to the charts and see it physically. So, okay, only Madam Aminat responded. Have we all written this down, Damilola and Mr. Monday, so I can proceed and change the screen? Let me know on it, okay? Once you're done, please indicate. Now, there is a reason why I keep saying at least twice. If something does not happen twice, it's not a support, it's not a resistance. Let me explain this way. If you're coming to my house and you've never been in my house before, if you ask someone for direction and one person gave you the direction, there is every probability that what that person gave you is the wrong address. Hope you know. In fact, especially in Lagos, people give people wrong address. But if you ask a second person, if you seek another opinion, probably I send the address to you and you ask another stranger, and the person still tells you, oh, take the same route, and they are both saying the same thing. Even if you've never been in my house, been to my house before, your confidence would increase, right? By the time you now seek a third opinion and everybody is saying face here, there is no guarantee that they are all telling you the truth, is it not? But there is a higher probability that if you take that route, you land in my house. Now, the same thing in the Forex market. There is no guarantee, but there is higher probability based on if everybody is saying the same thing or more than one person is saying the same thing, right? I hope you're understanding the analogy. So when you trade, it's just like when you sleep, there is no guarantee that you're going to wake up tomorrow, but people plan for tomorrow because every other night they slept, they've always woken up, is it not? So that's the same thing we're doing in the Forex market. So if the goal is that we want to sell at the high zone because it has happened there like twice before in the past, so next time the market gets there, I want to sell. If it has happened twice in the past that they bought at a low zone, any other time the market gets to that same low zone, I'm looking to buy because it happened in the past. If you understand that part so well, drop a 7 on the chart so we can proceed. Drop a 7. Good. Now, let me now proceed. You see now, to now buy, to now identify the support and the resistance. That now takes us to what we call market structure. So write the subheading down, market structure. Now, anytime I want to trade, I want only looking for, I'm telling you the conditions I take for trading, and you can go ahead and apply the same thing, and you're going to see massive results, especially combined with strategy. So number one thing I first go when I open my chart is this market an uptrend or a downtrend? By saying, is it an uptrend, meaning is the market moving up or is moving down? If it's moving up, I'm looking for ways to buy. Remember, I said another word for buy means uptrend. If it's moving down, I'm looking for ways to sell. Or number two, is it a sideways market? Sideways market is what we call ranging market or consolidating market, or what's that word again? Yeah, sideways. So a sideways market will be like, it's just going up and down to the side. It's not a straight up or straight down. You see the market, the chart looking up and down. And that would happen because the currency pair are of equal strength. Let me give you an example. Though our focus today is not on ranging markets, we're going to trade either uptrend or downtrend. But you need to understand this. You will always see a ranging market because both currencies are almost of equal strength. It's like saying, let me use this analogy. If you have Man U and Chelsea, I know Man U is misbehaving right now, but normally they are strong teams, right? If Man U and Chelsea are both playing and you put your money on that kind of match, what would happen before the end of the match? Your mind will not be at rest and you're placing your money at risk because the match, any one of them can win. But if you go look for a small team, like maybe Sunderland versus Liverpool, Liverpool is very strong against Sunderland, even though there is no guarantee that Liverpool will win. But by taking a strong team as against a weak team, you increase your chances of winning. And that's why they tell you that when you buy, let the base be stronger. When you sell, let the quotes be stronger. Let one be extremely stronger than the rest, so that you, even though there is no guarantee, you are increasing your chance of winning. Am I communicating? If I'm communicating, drop a 2 on the chat box. Drop a 2 on the chat box if I'm making sense. Drop a 2 on the chat box if I'm making sense. Good. So that is about ranging market. You see a ranging market when both currencies are of equal strength. Maybe just like you, when you've been running for a long time, you must pause and rest. So anytime the market has made a major move, either it's going up or down, it has to come and range at some point, and that's like a resting period. We call it equilibrium. So that's a ranging market. Now let me focus on trending markets, right? Uptrend or downtrend. Uptrend. Now an uptrend will look like this. Everybody write this down. Every trend has 2 moves. Write this down in your notes. Very important. Every trend that is either an uptrend or downtrend, every trend has 2 moves. 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 Full stop. Have you written that down? If you've written every trend has 2 moves, please drop a 1. Every trend has 2 moves. Drop a 1 on the chat box. Good. The first move is what we call the major move. Is a major. When you say something is major, that's the core, the main point. Major move, right? Write that down. The second move is called the pullback move. or I like to call it the resting move. Pull back. There's another word we call it right now. I can't even think of it. Pull back. Retracement move. Thank you. Or retracement. Retracement move. Please write this down. Very important. Trust me, if you don't understand the basics, if I go to chat, it will not make sense. But if you understand what I'm explaining right now, it's going to make a lot of sense. So another word for the second move is what we call either pullback, resting move, or retracement move. We are both saying the same thing. So if I use the word pullback, I mean the resting move or retracement move is the same thing, right? So this is what I mean. Now let me draw what I mean to you right now. When I said every move, every trend has two moves. So let's say, for example, I'm looking at uptrend, right? You know, we are still on uptrend. But every move has two major moves. Now, even though they say when the market is an uptrend, it's going up, it won't just be going straight up. No. Right? Let me look for shapes. Okay, let me draw. It's going to look like this. The trend will look like this. Come here. Let me push. Even though we are going up, the market is going to look like this. Hold on, sorry. I'm still drawing. Let me erase that. That'll be the mistake. Okay. So am I still sharing my screen? Hope you can still see my screen though. I want to draw the trend now. Okay. Sorry, I'm with you, please. Okay. Good. Hold on. So I hope you can still see my screen. Am I still sharing? Hope you're still seeing my screen. If you can still see the screen, please put a 1 on the chat box. Put a 1 if you can see what I just drew. Good, good. Now, look at what I just drew on the screen, right? You can see eventually what I drew is looking like everything is still moving up, but it wasn't moving up. At some point, you'll see this straight move. This will go up, right? And then it will come down. Then it will go up, another down. Pay attention, then it will go up. That's how the market moves. The market moves in waves. So this thing that I drew, is it looking like the market is going up eventually, or it's coming down overall? Like it moved from this point, right? From that point to these high points at the end of the day. So do you think this was an upward movement or a downward movement? Put it on the chat box. If you think it was an upward movement, put it up. If you think it's a downward movement, put it down. Good. Good. So that is how the market moves. Now, this is what we want to do. You remember I told you every moves is characterized. Every trend has two moves. This is the two moves. Now, the first move is what we call the major move. Now, that major move will be going in the direction of the market. Just like you said, it's an up, it's moving up. So the major move is going to be a buy. Meaning what I'm looking for in this trend right now is all the buys. I want to buy every time it start going up. I want to buy here again because it moved up from this zone again. It moved up from here. From here, it went up. From here also, it went up. Another time it went up from here. These are all the places I want to buy on. But you see this side that is bending down. Each time it's bending down. Now, that thing you wrote in your notes where you put retracement move, anytime the market is resting or retracing, it's going to be doing the opposite of what it's meant to do. Let me take that again. Every time the market is resting, it's going to do the opposite of what it's meant to do. It's just like you. When you start running, you can't run forever. When you run, you pause, you rest, you breathe before you continue. So if we say the market is on an uptrend, what it means is we want the market to keep going up, meaning we want to buy. But each time it buys to a certain level, it must rest. That time is resting is going to be doing the opposite of buying. So what's the opposite of buying, ladies and gentlemen? What's the opposite of buying? Put it on the chat box if you understand. What's the opposite of buying? Put it on the chat box. Put it on the chat box. 3%, I'm expecting 3 answers. What's the opposite of buying? Good. So what it means is that each time it was not buying in this uptrend, it was selling. You see all those times it was facing down, the small move that faced down, it was selling. That is what we call the retracement move. So as a trader, you are not supposed to be trading the rest. You are supposed to be trading the major move. So if the market is on an uptrend, you are only looking to buy, right? You're only looking for all the buys. You are not selling. So that's to tell you that when you open the chart, you are going to see both buys and sells. But the first thing you need to look out for is when you look at the chart, does it look as if this chart is moving up or is moving down? If it's moving up, then you know, oh, it's an uptrend. I'm only going to be buying. So even if I see sells, I'm not going to be entering all the sells. I'm only waiting to buy. Good. So let me now draw the next thing should now be, how will I now know when to enter the buy? That is where that support zone comes in. So all these areas the market bought from are all support zones. All the areas the market bought from, these are where the support zones are. We're going to go to a practical chart, but we need to understand the basics first. So these places are all the buy zones. Come in. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. This is how the chart looks like. So you can see all the places I drew that box where I wrote buys. Those are support zones in the market. Now look at something else. I want you to pay attention. What I'm teaching is a little bit advanced, but if you get it for life. By the time you go watch videos on support and resistance, it will now make more sense. Remember, the rule is we buy at support, we buy at resistance. Now imagine where you are right now. Look at this chart I drew as if you're going on a 5-story building. The first buy move is the first story. The second buy move is like the second story. The third buy move is the third story building. And then the fourth one, okay, this one has 4. It's like the 4th-story building. Now, when you climb a staircase, you know, when you climb the first case, you got to the first stairs. You have the opportunity to walk before you start climbing the next stairs, before you arrive at 4th floor. So what I'm saying in essence is when you move from 1st floor, you have to break through or break above 2nd floor to get to 3rd floor. You break above 3rd floor again to get to 4th floor. Who agrees with me that when you're moving up, you need to break the 2nd floor to get to the 3rd? You break the 3rd to get to the 4th. If you agree with me, put in another one on the chat box. If you agree with me, put in another one. Put in another one. Put in another one. Put in another one. Good. So the same way the market reacts. Now, you see all the places I drew the boxes where the market sold from were previous resistance points. Resistance point. Remember the rule says we sell our resistance. So all those places I wrote sell and I dragged the box to when the things they're facing down from here that I went down was resistance zones. But you see at some points, after I came down and sold the first time, the market broke above it and continue buying. That is why you don't sell on an uptrend, because it can break the roof. Because the market is still going to the 4th floor. It's going to the fifth floor. So it's going to break the second floor. That's why you don't want to sell on an uptrend. If something is facing up, you should not face down. You also want to face up alongside with it. So now this is how the market goes. Now let me give you another illustration. Pay attention. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, let's say you are in a football field, buyers and sellers. That's the two goalposts. If I score first, let's say I'm Man U, and I score first in Chelsea's house, there is no guarantee that I'm the winner of the match. But if I go back and score a second time, I break through their goalpost the second time, there is higher probability that I might emerge the winner because I've scored twice. So the first time was just me trying. The second time is a confirmation that I want to go and reconfirm that I'm still powerful. I scored the second time. With the second time, there's higher probability that I might involve the winner. The same thing with this chart I drew. Anytime the market breaks the resistance, this first place is sold from. If it breaks it the first time, there is no guarantee. But notice after the buyers broke that first time, they came back and sold back into that same box. The same box was where the buyers continue again. This like they broke it first time, they came back with a second goal to reconfirm that the buyers are still powerful. Then they continued. If you understand this thing I just explained now, put a 3 before I proceed. Put a 3. The first time buyers broke this box, they came back there again, right there. You can see after they sold, they came back there again and started buying again, meaning they still overpowered. That's how the market moves. So anytime it breaks for a first time, we don't jump in. We wait for them to come and score a second time. By the time they score a second time and their buyers are still strong, you see buy candles coming out from there, we jump in the buy. And that's how the market keeps moving up. It gets to the next resistance again. You can see thoughts there. Sellers sold again because the rule is we always sell our resistance. So they sold. But I won't be selling because I know buyers are still going up. So they can still break the third floor and keep going to the fourth floor. And when they broke it this third time, what did you see again? They came back right into that box area and then buyers took over again. So what I want to do is anytime there is a break, I'm waiting to buy. And that's what Kev Remote teaches. So when you go back and rewatch his classes on market structure, on trend, you will now understand. So this is what we do. We either buy at the support. So write this down for buying conditions. Conditions for buying. Write this down. 1, you buy at support or you buy at resistance that became support. This is an example of a resistance that became support. The same box, the way they broke first floor and they came back there, that was the resistance that later became support. And that's the strategy is always teaching. So write this down, rules for buying. Remember we said number 1, we buy at support. Is it not? We buy at support. 2, write this down. Buy at resistance that became support. That became support. In other words, we are still buying at support again because the resistance already became support. The moment Man U scored twice, they are the winner. It's the same way this chart got broken. The moment you break it the first time, you are not the winner. But when the market comes back there and retests and buyers still take over, then this place they are now buying from now change from resistance to support because buyers already won. That's why the rule says we buy at support or we buy at resistance that still became support. If you understand that, please drop a 7 on the chat box. If you understand that, please drop a 7 on the chat box. Madam Amina, what about you? Do you understand? If you understand, please drop a 7. I'm only waiting for Madam Amina to. The others drop a 7. Good. So you understand. Now, I'm now going to take you to that same chart you want to know how to read. So look at, let me now draw a line. There's something we call a trend line. And this is a 3 place we buy. If I now draw a line here now, this thing will look like a trend. Don't mind, you know, this example, so it might not be straight like that. It might not be straight like that. Hold on. Let me drag it up. Good. I want to draw a second one. Hold on. Good. So look at the line I drew right now, right? You can see this line is called a trend line. The lower part is where the buy started from. Are you seeing it? The second line below this horizontal line. Is it horizontal? Sorry, this is not horizontal. This is a trend. They call it trend line, but the line that is slopey right now. Each time the markets got there, you can see buyers bought. That's the same place I drew those boxes. So the third place you buy in an uptrend is the lower trend line. I drew two trend lines. There is one upper trend line, then this one lower trend line. So write this down. Number 3 place you buy in an uptrend is on the lower trend line. Write it down. You know, I told you we buy at support. So number 3 place is we buy on the lower trend line of an uptrend. First, we established that it was an uptrend. So these are the 3 places I'm looking to buy. If these buyers are not in any of this zone, I'm not buying. These are my first conditions for buying. So when I open my chart, number 1 thing I want to see is the market moving up or down? Or is it moving sideways? If it's moving up, then I know it's an uptrend. If it's moving down, I know it's a downtrend. Now, if it's an uptrend, I'll look for where are all the support areas? That's where I want to buy. If it's a downtrend, where are all the resistance? That's where I want to sell. So let me now do an example of a downtrend. Then we now go to the physical charts that you want to understand how to read. And we'll go. But before I proceed, any question on this uptrend area? Do you have any question here? Who has any question on this part so far? What I just explained, is it explanatory enough before we now go and experiment it? Please ask your questions now before we go on. Ask your questions. Okay, if you have any question, please ask. Let me unmute you. Or no, type it. If I unmute you on this laptop, it's not very loud, right? Just type it. Type your question, man. Type your question out. Type it, or I'll be giving you some seconds or minutes. Let me give you 1 minute to type that question out. Okay, so if I understand you said which one is the lower trend line? The one at the bottom, this lower one, where they wrote buy, that side where you have buys, that's the lower one. The upper one is the one on top, that's the side they are selling from. But you can see the lower one, this is the lower trend line I drew, and those are the places I tried buy. So each time the markets, these lines in the chart would have been candles. So each time the candles got to this zone, it will buy. If it got to this zone, it will buy. If it gets to this zone, it will buy. Right? Do you understand now? If you understand now, ma, put a 7 on the chart. Yes, where is it in the drawing? Okay, now you understand where it is in the drawing, right? Is it not? Good. So let me now do an example of an uptrend. I hope everybody you can screenshot this thing on your screen before you forget. Just look at this sample of how it looks. So when we go on the real charts, you now liking the structure of how the market is looking to what you see now. Right now, let's go to the downtrend. We've just done an example of an uptrend. Let's go to the downtrend before we now go to physical charts in the market. So I'm erasing all those things. Still with you. Now, going to the downtrend, right? Remember, I said anytime you open the chart, you're either looking for an up moving market or a down moving market, which is a downtrend or sideways. But today we are not here to focus on sideways. We are here for either up or down. So for a downtrend, we are also going to have one major move, and two, the pullback move, pullback or resting move. I remember I told you in the resting move, the market will be doing the opposite. So in a downtrend, meaning the market is going to sell. Anytime the market is moving down, that's like a sell move, right? So a downtrend would also look like this: major move and pullback, just like I explained the other time. Every trend will look like this. For a downtrend, this is how it will look. You'll be seeing this. It's moving down, right? Then when it's doing the pullback, it will move back up. Remember, I said the pullback, the market will be doing the opposites. Then when it finishes resting again, it will continue down again. You see the continuation down again. So move down, right? After moving down for some time, it will rest and do the pullback again. So who can tell me what the pullback of a downtrend will be? Is it going to be a buy or a sell? The pullback, the rest move, is it going to be a buy or a sell? Put it on the chat box. That way I'll know whether you understand what we've been saying. The pullback, the resting move of a downtrend, is it going to be a buy or a sell? I didn't say the major move or the pullback. It's going to be a, is it going to be a sell or a buy? Type it. Good. Madam Amina, listen to what I'm teaching first. Relax. You want to jump the horse. If you don't understand this once, you can't understand when we get to when we are buying. Maybe they used to call trade. Did you understand it? Understand these basics first. You want to jump and take code. So I asked the question. Now, Monday understands. Good. You also understand. Okay. What of Dami? Is Dami still on the score? Buy. Good. So what it means is that the major move of a downtrend is that we want to sell. Is it not? We want to sell. So that's going to be the major move. So all those places that it was moving down was actually a sell move. Anytime it's resting, it will be buying. These are all these places. Pull back. Another place I'll enter the sell again is here. When it gets here again, it rests to the next zone. It will continue to sell. When it gets here, it will buy. Here again, the sell. Look at the places I'm placing the sell. Is at the top. That's why I would say we sell high, right? It sold from here, not even. It sold all the way down here. It sold from this place, got here, got to a support. Remember, the market bar has a support. That's why this place is where the buy is starting from. But once it gets to resistance, it drops again. It got to another support, it rests, it dropped. Now, see a downtrend like you are moving from 5th floor, you are coming to the ground floor. When you are moving from a 5th floor to a ground floor, what do? You must break 4th floor to get to the 3rd floor, to get to the 2nd floor, to get to the last floor. That's like you are breaking all the support along the way. So when I say the conditions for selling is that number one, we sell at resistance, which is where it started from. Number two, we sell at support that became resistance. We sell, write it down, we sell at support that became resistance. That's the key word. It became resistance. A support that became resistance. Why did it become resistance? Because the market broke that floor. When you're selling, you need to break the floor. That's why I use the analogy that when you're coming from the 5th floor, you need to break the 4th floor to get to the third floor, to get to the second floor, to get the same thing in the market. So the more it keeps coming down, all the markets, all the floors in front of it is going to break it till it gets to the end of that trend. If you understand that we sell as support at resistance, that became resistance, if you understand that analogy of me using the floor to explain it, put a 5 on the chat box before I now go to charts. Before I go to the chat, put a 5 on the chat box if you understand that explanation. Okay, only Monday. Okay, good. So everybody understand. So now, remember, just like I told you, the 3 places I would buy, these places are also the 3 places I will buy in a downtrend. Number 1 is that I will sell at a resistance in a downtrend. 2, I will sell at every support that became resistance. And number 3 is the higher trend line. I would sell around the higher trend line. And these are the questions you're asking me. Where will I get the code? Is the code I'm giving you now. When we now go to the chart, you'll see that there is already a number around those zones. That's how they used to call that entry price they call for you when they say buy here, sell, because they are calling those buys around the supports. So whatever number is around that support zone is what they call out for you. I will sell around the higher trend line. Higher trend line. And why are we selling around the higher trend line? Simple, because we must follow the rule that says we sell high and we buy low. So look at this Wuru trend line I drew right now. I'm going to try to complete the red trend line, right? It's not going to be straight though, but don't worry. Manage it like that. Hold on. Let me shift. Let me redraw this trend line. Don't worry. Let me redraw it so it will be very nice. Let me erase everything on the screen. I'll redraw it so that you understand. Now, when you will now go to Forex chart, you'll see that you'll be seeing things that look like this structure. And that's when you really start seeing the market. So let me draw again, right? So, okay, good. Let's stop here. So, let me use this. It's not perfect too, but try to understand what I'm trying to draw. So now what I just drew is like a trend line, and we sell at all those places. Where I'm going to put the boxes right now. Remember, we sell at the top. So I would have sold there. This is one selling point. I'd have sold here too. Anytime it got to the resistance zone or the upper trend line, when the market buys back to this, all those places, I would sell there. These are all the zones I will sell. 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 So these are all where all the buys were. These were all the late support zones. That was where this buy started from, that went up like this. This next buy, you can see that next buy is there from the lower part. Don't worry that this trend line is not straight, but I hope you can see. So when I say this place, let me elongate this box. You can see it was a support before, but what later happened? It's not dragging. Hold on. Still staying there, but if you drag this, you'll see that where I dragged this box to like this was actually the support before that the market break and it later became a resistance point. That was the fifth floor that became the fourth floor I was referring to. When the market broke it with this move, it broke it with this sell down, right? The market now later went back to retest that same buy zone before it now became a sell. Do you understand? So when I say the three places will sell, we sell our resistance, we sell our support, this same support where we're buying before, later became the selling point when you look to your right. This same buy zone to your left later became the selling point. These are support that became resistance, or the upper trend line. So this is the upper trend line, this is the lower trend line. So you sell at the upper trend line because you want to sell high. If you understand that, put a 5 on the chat box. Let's now go to the real forex chart. Go, 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 go. If you understand that, put a 5 on the chat box. This is just the opposite of buying, right? It's just the opposite of buying. All right, good. Only Monday. Okay, everybody has put the 5. So good. I think we are good to go. Now, let me now go to the forex chart. Now, remember when I was defining support and resistance, I said it's a zone. That's why I draw a box. So between this box now, this could be 0.5 to 0.8. So that's why when they call entry for you, can be hearing something like 0.53 to 0.70 area. Because something is an area, it's not a box. It's not one particular price. No. It's like saying the market got to 1 the first time and it started buying up. Another time it got to 1.2 and it still started going up. Now it's like saying between 1 and 1.2, it's like a support zone. Ordinarily, anytime I see that approaching 1.5 before, another time, I'll be waiting to buy. Because the last time it got to 1, it got to 1.2, it started buying. That's why we call it a zone. Do you get? So now let me go to the forex chart. Right? Let me do. I always like to use my phone, but I started learning how to use trading view. Normally, I used to use my MT for charts. So trading view, let's go to charts. Just like you have your list of currency pairs, there are different lists of currency pairs on the trading view. So most of you, when you start using the strategy, you see the chart also on the strategy for you to use. They would have listed the currency pair. So you just check if all the buy conditions align, right? But understanding this market structure will make your job easy. I'm coming. I'll start sharing my screen now. Just a minute. Hold on. I'm not sharing the screen at the moment. Just give me some seconds. I'm gonna share right now. Still with you. Okay. So I'm sharing the screen right now. Let me know when you start seeing my screen. Drop a 1 on the chat box when you start seeing the screen. Let me know. Drop a 1 when you start seeing the screen right now. Good. So the interface I'm on is what we call trading view. But if you want to, if not necessary for now, you can still leave it, right? But I'm just trying to tell you how those traders analyze. So the pick a currency pair, you can see the list of some currency pairs, the AUD JPY, USD JPY, blah, 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 and all of that. So now let me pick a chart. I'm on a chart right now. Now let me ask you, I'm going to ask you a question. I want to see if you can see this market very well. Now notice this market right here, this side from year to year. Was this market moving up or moving down? Let me be sure you can see well. Now notice what is on the screen is candles. These candles is like saying the market price, where the market is presently. When you see those blue candles on my screen, they represent buying candles. The red is a selling candle. That's why each time you see the red, the market is like it's coming down. When you see those blue, it's like it's going up. So those blue candles are like buying candles. Most people, you can use any color for your candles, but most people like the blue, or you see some, they'll use green candles for buy, red for sales. But most people use red for sales anyway. Is either you're seeing blue or green. So now look at here, from here to here. Look at my hand on the screen from here to this point. Do you think this market was moving up or moving down? Do you think it's an uptrend or a downtrend? These places I'm highlighting, is it an uptrend or is it a downtrend? Put it on the chat box. Let me know what you think very quickly. Do you think it was moving up from what you're seeing? See, it's something about an uptrend. You can tell whether the market is going up or is coming down or is sideways. Those are the three things. Remember, I told you, is that an uptrend, a downtrend, or a sideways? Sideways means it will just be moving like it's moving towards the left. So, but that place I highlighted is an uptrend. Good, good, good. Everybody said it's an uptrend. What of Dami? Dami, what of you? Do you think it's an uptrend or a downtrend? Dami is no longer on this call. Dami Lola Bakari, I'm not going to repeat myself again. No. Good. Why did you not respond before? So that's how you know uptrend. Now, remember when we said in an uptrend, you are only going to be buying around the support. Now, notice, I also want to show you something. Even though it was moving up, look at the candles are now bolder. Even though it was moving up, did you see that there were points where there were red candles? Remember, I said red candles are selling candles. Each time we got to the resistance zone, the market will sell, but it will continue up again. See here again, another red candle, it sold. Then it continue again, it sold. The same movement I was drawing on that chart, see, up movement, that's the major move, sorry. This from year to year is the major move. When it was resting, it started selling, it came down again. Then it continued up again. This was that line I was drawing that, and I'll show you buy line and the pullback, that's the sell. This is exactly how an uptrend moves like, right? You can see that's how you can see after it got to the very top, what did it do again? It dropped. So all these places where the buy was starting from, let me put horizontal lines there. These are the zones I was talking about. These are the zones I was talking about. Don't worry, don't try to learn where I'm picking all the lines today. Don't even try to mark out anything today. It's just for you to understand how the market moves. So that when they call prices for you, you now understand. Look at this place, I put this horizontal line. You're seeing it. The price to the side, this black price highlighted is around 85.613. But remember, it's not just a line, it's a zone. So I'll put another horizontal line very close to it again at the top of this candle. You can see. So that when they call a price, if this market was there, they would have told you to buy between 85.613 or 85.867. That's how they call the entries they call for you. But there are other things they will confirm before just buying. I'm just trying to make you see why we buy and sell. Now, this place I put this two line. If you look to the left, it was where the candles were selling from before. You can see red candles from here. Red candles from here. It was a previous resistance zone because the market was selling from there. But because we were on an uptrend, what happened? The market broke it. That's why I said, when you are going to the fifth floor, you break the first floor. It broke it at this point. The moment it broke it, it became a support zone. It has not done a major retest yet, but a small red candle came back there, but it did not touch it. But it's still continuing. But this is an example of an uptrend. If you understand what I'm saying right now, put in a 2 on the chat box if you understand. Put in a 2 very quickly. Put it 2 very quickly if you understand this uptrend. Good. Good. Madam Aminat, what about you? Good. Now, let me show you another thing. Now, you'll be able to read chats. Don't worry. Now, this was an example. I want to show you an example of a sideways market. Now, I told you market sideways. It was just moving up and down. Look at this zone. From here, it was just moving. It wasn't going up. It was just, from this zone, it was just ranging. It will go up, come down, go up, come down, go up, come down, go up. No clear direction. Go up, come down, go up. Can you just see this part? This was like a ranging part. Let me put a line on the range. So when we say market is ranging, so just moving from up to down, it will be forming some resistance and support. You can just see it. See where I put those 2 lines. Let me remove this, the ones that were there before. Let me remove those ones so that it will not To not convince you, I will confuse you rather. Good. So look at this upper lower line. You can see this place. You can't say it was moving up. This place that I trap this market right now, it will get to the top and drop. Got to the top and sold. When it gets here, it will go up. Gets here again, go up from here again, go up again. So it was just moving from support to resistance, dropping, drop until eventually it broke out. So this is an example of a ranging market. If you can see the ranging market, this sideways, you can see here it was moving sideways. If you understand this sideways market, I'm identifying on this chart. Drop a 2 on the chat box. If you understand that sideways market, this place that is moving up and down, drop a 2 on the chat box very quickly. 3 answers. Good. So that's what we call a ranging market. So I'm not teaching about a ranging market today, but I just wanted to see. Now let me go and look for an example of a downtrend. So what we do is we buy on an uptrend. We look for all the supports. Good. Look and see this market. Hold on. You're going to tell me whether this market has been moving up or is moving down. All right. Hold on. I'm still adjusting the screen. Hold on. No, I'm not expecting to see anything right now. Let me refresh my screen. Yeah, reload. It's reloading, so the chat is not looking very okay right now. Hold on. Hold on, we are still going to see well. Okay. Hold on. Let me select another currency then. Oh, great. Great, great, great. So who can tell me if this part was an uptrend or was it a downtrend? This part I'm highlighting from year to year. Was it an uptrend or was it a downtrend? Put it on the chat box. From year to year, was it an uptrend or was it a downtrend? Was it moving down or was the market moving up? From year to year, do you think this market was moving up or it was moving down? It was a downtrend. Good. Madam Aminat, what about you? Do you think it was an uptrend or a downtrend? From this point to this point, do you think this market was moving down or it was moving up? From year to year, do you think it was moving up or moving down? It remains only Madam Aminat to downtrend. Good. That's how the market moves. So in a downtrend, are you also seeing, remember this downtrend means the red candles are for sales, meaning the market was moving down. But did you also see some blue candles for buyers? That is when the market was doing that pullback I told you. So even though we're on a downtrend, the buyers are also going to be there. This was a pullback. Then when it got to this zone, what happened? It continued selling. It got here again, continued selling. Right now, it's ranging, it's moving to the left. And when the market opens, I will expect it's going to break at some point and continue down. So the essence of teaching you today is just to show you the market structure, why we buy and why we sell. All right. Later going forward, you begin to now understand more, right? You can't learn everything today, but this is important to you. Like now, if I wanted to draw that trend line, I was showing you that I told you we'll draw that trend line that you sell from the upper part. If I draw a trend line, you see that where this market was selling from was from the higher trend line. I've been able to display this chart well. Good. Comment. Oh, good. It's even more bolder like this. So I'm coming. Now let me draw a trend line here. Let's delete this one that I marked out before. Sorry, just a minute. Sorry. Good. Now it's looking more trendy. Now let me put that trend line I told you. Remember, this is a downtrend. Now, pay attention to this, ladies and gentlemen. Pay attention. I've drawn that upper trend line. I'm drawing the lower part now. Good. So this is an example of a trend line. Now notice each time the market drop, once it gets to the support, it will do like it's buying or it's just staying. Then once it drops to this trend line again, this is the upper trend line. You can see each time it go here to this trend line, you see sell move, come down. It gets to the next support, it ranges and do like it's buying there. Then when it gets here again, what did you do? Another sell move. So that's why I said we sell on this upper trend line. And these zones are resistance zone. You can see when he got here, he bought, went to the same trend line and he started selling from there. Again, went there, started selling from there. Now notice something. Are you seeing the upper trend line that I'm saying? If you understand this upper trend line that I'm referring to, now I drew two lines. This is the lower part. This is the upper one. But we are selling, we sell from there. So each time the candles got to this upper line, it started selling, it started dropping from there. That's how you're seeing red candles. If you understand that part, put in a 1 on the chat box. Put in a 1. Only Bakari Damilola. Madam Aminat, what about you? Good. So that's how the market moves. Each time it gets to the next zone, let me draw a line. Each time, see, let me show you the time it was resting and doing pullbacks. When it got here, this place where you have these blue candles, it was resting. This was another place. It rested. Let me put another line there. It rested. Those are the places, those are the zones that later became support. It bought from here again. It's another zone. You can see. So that's how the market moves. That's how to read the chart. But this is not a class for reading that. But the same place it bought from, when it got here, what happened? He broke it. He later broke that support. The same thing here. He bought. Then he later broke it down. Because we are going down, we must break all the floors. That's how the market moves. If you got some value on the score, put in a 7 on the chat box. Put in a 7. So that now, when you now go back and watch the videos I'm going to refer you to watch on chatting, when the educator is teaching you a market structure, it will now make more sense. You will now understand why they are buying, why they are selling, where they are selling. So once they see those zones, they will now wait for confirmation. Remember that thing I told you, that if you're coming to my house for the first time, if you ask one person, it's not guaranteed though, but 3 persons are saying the same thing. You're almost on your way to my house. So when they get to those trend lines, before they will now sell, before they will now buy, they will now use some other confirmations to let them know that yes, sellers are ready to sell, buyers are ready to buy. That's how we buy, right? So that's the essence of this trend. So everybody on this call, you understand now that the first thing when you want to buy is to first check, is this market moving up or is moving down? If it's moving up, I'm looking for buys. When I now see that it's moving up, I'm looking for the lower trend line to buy on, the support zones. Like now, let me show you a typical example of a support zone. Support is where the buyers are buying. That's where you see blue candles. Let me remove this one. So I'll show you one support zone now. Remember I told you support is any zone the market got to in the past and it bought from. Now look at where I'm going to place this line right now. I'm placing the line here. And it's why we call it zone, because it's not just one place. So I'm going to put another second line. Now I'm going to move the screen to the side so you can see. Hold on. Now look at where I put the line. There's a time the market moved from here. You can see blue candles. It bought from there. First time. But it's not a support zone yet. Another time, the candle came back to those 2 lines. It moved again. By the time I see blue candles in this same zone, 1, twice, it's now a support. Look at a 3rd time. The market came here. You can see another 3rd candle. This is now a support zone because each time in the past, once, twice, it got there, it bought. So all those blue candles, anytime it happens around that area, you can see this one even came like it was going below, but it's still the same zone. It's very close. It still moved up from there. That's how you know support. That's how you know resistance. So let me now ask you something now. Prior to this class, is this chart looking easier to read, Madam Aminat? Is it looking easier? I know you can't understand everything now. This is just a preamble. So that when you go back and watch the things I'm going to ask you to watch, Trust me, it will just be like you are doing child's play. Is it now easy now? If it's easy, drop some value on the chat box. If it's easy, drop those values on the chat box. If it's easy, drop those values on the chat box. Good. So I'm going to go through the iam.center site, right? Later and tell you the particular videos on chatting everybody should now go and watch so that you too will understand chatting. Now, in fact, even me without telling you, go on every educator session like Kev Remote teaches on chatting or Oladapo. Oladapo is easy to understand. And Kev Remote, go to his recorded sessions where you have favorite session. Anywhere you see where they teach market structure, chatting, go and watch those videos. I swear it will make more sense. When you now join an educator later, when they now draw line and say we are buying here, when you to look at the chart, you say, oh, it's moving up, you will know that that place they are telling you to buy, it's a support zone. So you will take the trades with much confidence. All right. So my assignment later, go to another course. See, if you don't come back with questions for me, it's simple. I know you are not ready to learn. But if you go and watch those videos and come and ask questions, I will know, oh, those people want to get better. I will now be able to help you more based on the areas that are not clear, right? That's the way to get value. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please have an amazing day. Bye-bye. And before we go, don't forget to join educators. Oh, hey, the people that are not making money, that means I've not been seeing you. Mondays, in fact, let me type this down now. Mondays, our team trading is at 8 a.m. Wednesday, at least I'm the one handling those days, so it will be easy for you to pick the trades. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 8 a.m. I'm the one that called trade. Join team trading. Plan yourself. That same Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I've sent everybody here the timetable. If you don't have the timetable, come and ask me. Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Olada for 7 to 8. Join them. They are calling where to buy for you. Log into IGC and buy and take trade and make money. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Everything is just 1 hour. Then there's a new lady in town, athletes, by 5 p.m. Sorry, by 4 p.m. Mondays to Thursday. Join them. Mondays to Friday. Join this people and make money. Me, I always plan myself. Like if I go out, I don't go out until I've traded on all that, make some money. See, the money you are looking for, the remaining, even if it's 1 week or 2 weeks you have for your subscription, you can make it if you decide to join the educators, right? So make it a point of duty. Now join them, you will understand them better. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think a 5th person just joined the call and we're rounding up. So I'm wondering who just joined. Mr. Shegu, you came really late because we already rounded the call, but I'll see once the recording is out, I'm going to send it to you. You can watch and also get some value. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.